Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for being here. I know I'm the last thing between SQL Bits and the party tonight, so hopefully the session will be worthwhile for you, and you'll end up learning something new, or at least finding out something interesting. My name is Christian Angel, and I'm an electrical engineer, basically, at the beginnings. I'm a project manager. Switched into IT and the data world in 2014 when I discovered Power Query and Power Pivot. Ever since I'm working with Power BI and the entire suite, I got some certifications along the way. Since 3 years now, I'm the founder of Romania Power BI and Modern Excel user group. I'm an MVP since last year, and I'm really happy. And this is my first public speak at SQLBit, so I'm a bit stressed at the beginning, so hopefully I'll get over it during the session. The flight plan for today, we will talk about flexibility. So even if the session speaks about empowering the end users, this is a kind of tricky title because it's actually about us, the Power BI developers, and about the tools that we are using to empower the end users to do or allow the flexibility. And then, just like I said, it's about the Power BI tools and techniques that we should know whenever we are developing our Power BI reports. It's about the end user requests that are not always coming as we are expecting them to come at the beginning of a project. And I suppose that everybody here had these kind of projects where it always came up additional questions and then some demo. I'll do a demo based on a file, and I will take you through the entire journey from the beginning when the end user requested something, which was really simple, and then it got up into something really flexible based on different additional requests. And it's about the tools that we are using to do this. So we were talking about flexibility. We have two types of flexibility. One given by Microsoft inside the Power BI service. And since 2 years ago, Microsoft provided the ability to personalize visuals, and the users can customize visuals, but we also need to know about what we as developers can do to allow or restrict this usage. Thinking about it in general, it's a good thing to allow the end user to customize its own visuals, right? Well, yes, until a certain point, because if you allow it fully, then you might end up with all kinds of problems because not only the visuals can be changed, even some measures inside some visuals can be replaced. And then we as developers, we need to know what's the limit where we can allow the end users to customize. I will not go into many details about this because Christopher and Just had a really great session on SQL Bits on Wednesday, I think. So I'm just mentioning it. There is an option in settings. If we go to options, I just made it as a PowerPoint here. On the bottom left on report settings, there is this check with allow report readers to personalize these visuals. But this enabled and left as it is will allow everything to be personalized, which is not what we need. Then we have the second option on page level. In the format pane, we have this personalized visual where we can do granular control. We can have granular control over what can be customized. And using perspectives, just like Christopher showed it on Wednesday, we can do some really great things, but we need to know it's there and not just allow all the users to do whatever they want. Then there is a different kind of flexibility, that one by request. And for this, we as Power BI developers, we have some tools and techniques that we should master in order to accommodate. So there are tools that are not necessarily teachable for beginners, like field parameters or disconnected tables or calculation groups or external sources. There are all kinds of things that are not taught in the first day of Power BI. But as long as we are doing and we know about them, we can embed them in different reports based on the end user request. And also using a lot of creative DAX, let's say like this, we can do a lot of things, and you'll see one example at the end. And these tools, we need to know them because the end users is coming with all kinds of requirements, like show or hide columns dynamically, or dynamic format strings, KPIs, a list of KPIs, and I don't know, now I want to see it with 1 decimal, tomorrow I want to see it with 2 decimals, or things like this. Or controlling the top end displayed on a single visual, or conditional formatting control, or switching visuals from charts to matrices, or whatever, using bookmarks on this. One of the most common requests is this, dynamic X and Y axis. There are all kinds of requests, including the dark theme, and I'm pretty sure everybody is expecting it. It's not there yet, but with some creative DAX, we can do it, and with some bookmarks. I will not demo it today, but I think we should wait a few more months, and we'll have it directly in Power BI. And then even export to Excel. Who here in the room never got a request to export in Excel? Anyone? I thought so. So it's a thing that everybody in our world is avoiding it and thinks, this is not cool, it's not okay. But there are actually moments when it's needed. Think about someone who doesn't have a license, a pro license, in a company where there is a big data model and there is no license. Well, they actually need to export it in Excel. Or you have drivers on the road, they don't have access to all kinds of laptops and things like this. They need it in Excel. So there are situations where export in Excel is mandatory, as long as we are doing it right. I'm an Excel MVP, and this is why I'm taking part of this session of this export to Excel, because it's really important as long as we are doing it right. So either from Power BI with Analyze in Excel, or connecting live tables, or from Excel with making pivots directly from against the data model. There are situations where data in Excel is really, really useful. Well, we are on the demo part. As I said, I'm on the, enough with all this talking. I don't like to talk too much about and stay on slides. As I said, I'm working in a manufacturing company in Romania since too many years now. I've been through all kinds of jobs inside, from engineering to project management, and now in IT. But in any manufacturing company, there is one and most critical problem: the line stop. Whenever the line stops, it means that the shipment is not leaving and the money stops, which is a big problem. Well, the second big problem, we cannot do much there, but the second biggest problem is to have a lot of unfinished products on the production line, failed in different stations on the line, and staying there. The entire inventory that is staying and is not finished to be delivered, it's called bone pile inventory. So you will hear a lot about bone pile today, because the entire demo is not done on AdventureWorks, where we had everything additive. It's done on a data set, a very simplified data set from work with a friend of mine, a business unit manager called Tom, let's say it like this, who was actually doing exports from the manufacturing execution system on daily basis, and doing pivots every day. Because being a manager, just like Adam and Patrick said yesterday, he knows Excel and he's working only with Excel. Well, he knew Excel. He was doing it on daily basis, but he got rid of it. He got too busy, and he said, Christy, come help me. We have a problem. I want to eliminate this hustle of doing everything, because he was taking snapshots of the bomb pile on a certain day, every day, just checking how many units are in different stations failed, and how can they push them towards the end of the line so they can ship them. First, he said, I just need the Power BI report with 4 dimensions, and I'll show you which are those ones, a really easy one. And then he came with all kind of additional requests for flexibility, and you will see it was, I was that close of not being friend anymore, let's say it like this. Okay, so let's move to this one. Let me show you the simple data set that we had. So if you see here, we have a very, very simple and simplified data set with details on the serial numbers of the units, so details about the products, when a certain product failed, in which station it failed, what's the price, since when it's there, because we had some boards failing and waiting for repair since ever, and the split, one of the category is the split by ranges. So in all the reporting, there are ranges where the data needs to be. As long as it's under 5 days, for example, the risk of not shipping it is really low. But if it's over 60 days, it's a high risk, and that shipments need to be processed. Well, this is the data set, really simple, and I have only a few products there in 3 categories. These are called family names. You will see in the Power BI report, these are called categories and products. So let me show you the first Power BI that I provided, which was really, really easy. When I asked Tom, what do you want? I want to see everything. I don't want to export anything every day. I don't want to do pivots. I want to see everything on one chart. And I said, okay, we can have it. So today, you had 139 units in a total value of 23,000 and so on. And the split, you have it by categories, by products, by aging bin, and by station. The exact same pivots that he was doing in Excel. Everything is fine. Tom was really happy. This is a really basic Power BI report. You can filter, you can do whatever you want. And the entire demo will go like this, because otherwise I wouldn't have time to type anything, and I don't think you are here to watch me typing. So after a while, when he saw this, he said, well, yeah, it's really, really good. I love it. I don't have to do the pivots anymore, but I missed something. What happened yesterday? How can I see what was yesterday? What was 2 days ago? Don't we have some kind of history? Of course we do. But he was requesting only the daily snapshot, and this is what he got. Even if we asked, all of us, we asked, are you sure this is all? Yeah, of course I'm sure. It's like always. And he said, yeah, but you know what? I need a history for the entire thing. I need to know what happened yesterday. I need to know what happened last month. I need to know what happened 6 months ago. Okay. I went to my desk and built an additional page to this report, and it's this one. Well, for history, of course, we have a slicer to filter the data, and it's working really fine. We have the quantities, the values, the same slicers, and the split by month, or by week, or by whatever. It's a really standard Power BI report. Well, after we had this, when we built this, we had a problem. As we have daily snapshots, you can imagine the same unit appeared yesterday in the bomb pile, and then it appeared again today. So we couldn't do the quantity, the calculation for the quantity. It's not a sum of everything, just like in AdventureWorks. we had to use a non-additive measure. And for this, we used something, I will not go into details with the measure, but we had to calculate all the time the bomb pile quantity in the last day of the period selected. Think about it like this. If I'm watching, I want to drill down to the day level, of course I will see the day quantity. If I'm going back, going up to week level, I need to see the last day of that week. If I'm going to the month level, so on. So I created a measure with a variable with last dates, then using a treat as, and everything is based up to the week level, because this is the lowest level when we need to shift the quantities. So it's not very complicated, but since we did the quantity, of course, we could do the same thing for the bomb pile value, just calculating the sum of everything, because the entire data set, it's at, each record is a unit there. So it's really easy, but the logic for the dates was the same. Okay, I presented this. Everything was fine. Everything is drillable. The same categories here on the charts. I needed category, station and date, quantity and product. He also needed some differences between the previous day and today, or the previous period and this period. So this is why I've used custom visual, because from time to time, this is another tool that we should know. We can use custom visuals. So this is the Zebra BI visual. It's really, really cool because we can do all kinds of things in the same chart. And he was happy. He said, okay, thank you very much. I love it. But now I have another problem. Oh, again, what's the problem? Well, I need to know what are the details. Yeah, I see the quantities are really nice, but I don't know what are the details for each day. So which are those 2 days from category that are in this cell? Or if we go here on the bomb pile, which are these 4 units that are waiting to be retested in circuit test? Well, for getting the details, I think everybody here should have done it before. What do you think I've used? Drill through. Who did the drill through until now? So it's okay. Thank you very much. I just kept a portion of my demo, but I need to do something here. It's already done on my side. I only have to show it. So, not only that we have a drill through, a separate page called details. Let me close this. And this, and this, and this. We have a separate page with the properties like everybody knows. And I just added on the whatever we can do drill through, I added all the dimensions that we had. So we can go there. But in order to go to a drill through page, there are 2 options, actually 3 options. If we hover over a category, this is the new modern experience. I don't like it very much because it's pretty not discoverable, let's say it like this. Thank you. There is another one, to right-click and go to drill through and go to details. This is even less discoverable. And then there is another option to use buttons, and this is what I did here. I just used the button with an action to go to drill through. So whenever we are selecting a column, just go to the and get those selections exactly. And here on the details, we had exactly what Tom requested: the date, the serial numbers, the product which failed, how many days the unit is there, and so on. Well, he was really, really happy. He said, now I have everything. Well, after 1 week, he said, you know what? I had a meeting with the customer, and he's tracking the aging days differently than us. So we have here bins of dates. We are considering a risky unit over 60 days. He's considering it after 45 days. And it's really complicated to do the calculations externally, export the details, and so on. Can you make me a tool so I can do it myself and change the bins? I said, OK, let's try. Give me 2 weeks, and I'll do it. Of course, it's not 2 weeks. It was 2 hours, and it was done. But it's just like it is. So in order to do it, I just created a table outside in an Excel file, or we can do it in a SharePoint list or whatever. And then we can have sets of bins. I already prepared here some sets. Let's say I want to have from 0 to 3 days, from 3 to 7, and so on. So I'll just copy this data, pasting it here, save the file, close it, and just refresh the file. This aging bin, let me see, I hope it's not taking too long. No, like usual, I have to cancel first. Yeah, working this time. You know, every time, think about it. There are 2 options to allow the user to change the dimensions, because this is what he did. He just changed the dimensions. If you are checking here, the entire aging bin was replaced. So not only that we allowed him to do it, and he was expecting the next refresh, there is another possibility that we can implement to it, another tool that is not on the slides, to just add the Power Automate button and just allow the end user to refresh the data set and not eating from the 8 refreshes on the Pro. So full flexibility for the end users. This is done in Power Query. I won't have time to explain it now, but you will have the file. And by the way, both this file and the data set plus the slides are in my GitHub, and the link will be shared at the end. Well, after we did this, we got a new request from Tom. He said, you know what? I have another one, and please don't be upset with me. I have something new. I need something from you. What do you need? Well, I need to be able to set a target, and whenever one of the bins, one of the categories is hitting that target, that column in a chart needs to be highlighted. I said, why do you do that? Well, we have some internal targets, and we need to track them easily. Can you do it? I said, oh, OK, we can do it. How can we do it? Using numeric parameters and DAX. Everybody, the beginners, when I started learning Power BI, I was really happy to see conditional formatting in matrices. But we can do so much more than that using DAX. And I did it using, if I go to modeling, new parameter, if I'm using a numeric range, I'm just setting up, let's call it target demo. I'm starting data type with a whole number, I don't know, from 10 to 500. I want to be able to move the slicers in increments of 5. I'm adding the slicer to the page, and this is it. Well, yeah, I do have a slicer, and so what? Well, the slicer itself is not connected to anything. But if we check the data, target demo here, it's actually just a set of numbers from 10 to 500 with the range that I gave it. It's not only this. The numeric parameters also created a measure, this one, which is called target demo value. which is this selected value. Well, this is actually the measure that I've used in the field parameter. So for now, I will just delete this one, and I will show you the one which is already prepared, and how did I prepare it. So delete from model. This is the target that I set up. And this one was exactly from 10 to 500 in targets of 5, and the target is this one. This one. This is something else. This is the target value. Okay. So what do I need in order to set up the conditional formatting? I need another measure. I called it just conditional formatting target. And I did something really, really easy. It's an if statement. If the bone pile quantity is less than the target value, I'm just putting, what do you think is this? It's a hex color. So DAX can do hex colors. And we can specify it directly. So the measure itself will return either a hex color or a color which is already, there is a set of colors preset, like red, blue, black, and an entire list of colors. And I want to use this, this measure for conditional formatting. So how can we do it? Let's go back to the field. Let me delete this. I don't need it anymore. And let's go to bone pile dynamic. Yeah, this is it. I have the target here. Whenever I'm modifying the target, this is the pre-prepared thing. So this numeric parameter is applied. Actually, the measure that I've built on this one is applied on these two charts on the bars. If I'm going here, and if I go for color, let me deselect this and try it again. So I go here in bars, colors, and I'm using the DAX. I want a field value, and I'm looking for conditional format target. It's the measure that I've built earlier. It just works. And as soon as we are modifying the target, everything is visible. So whenever Tom needed to see which are the packages or the bars that are above a certain target, he can just modify the slicer and see it depending on the needs. Well, he was really happy. He said, now I have everything. And, of course, I didn't believe him, and I'm pretty sure nobody in the room would believe him, because as he got to play more and more with the report and so on, he said, yeah, you know, you did something really cool, but I only have the quantities here. So in the charts, I only have the quantities. I also have to be able to modify it and switch, keep the same categories or the same dimensions, and switch between the quantities and the value itself, because I want to see the split on products, aging bins, category, and products value-wise. So it's not always, there are some expensive components so on which the number is really low, so you're not always looking only on quantities, you have to look at values. And he said, can you do it? Can I switch dynamically the measures so I can have either quantities or values? I said, let me think about it. Of course we can. With field parameters, it's possible. And this is what I used. If you did drill through until now, probably everybody knows how to do a field parameter. But just as a really short example, we can find them here, not like this, but like this. In the modeling tab, new parameter, fields. Here, I'm just doing a calculations demo, field parameter, calc demo, let's say like this. And this is the easiest thing ever. We just drag and drop from the bone pile value, the quantity and the value, and keep the slicer on the page, and this is it. So we don't have to do anything else. Of course, just by itself, like numeric parameters, nothing is happening if we're not putting the value that was created with it. This one, if we're not adding it to the charts. This is why I will delete this one, and I will show you the other one that I already built. So here on the, let me delete this one too, delete from model. I have calculations. It's called calculations. As you can see, this is basically a table. Field parameters is a table. I also had an additional field inside that I commented here, but if we are going here, the calculation itself is really a table, this one. But the value needs to be added on the charts so that it works. So this is the slicer already formatted, the one that I built earlier. And here, if we move in the charts, if we check the format, let me check this one. See, on the x-axis, I don't have the quantity anymore. I have the field parameter value that I have, that I've already built. On this one, the same. I'm having the calculations here. For category, also the calculations, and for product, the calculation. So whenever Tom was modifying from quantity to value, I was keeping all the dimensions and modifying the parameters like this. Okay, it was really, really happy, and Tom was, whew, now I have everything. Well, it was not quite like this, because whenever I did this Power BI report, I was actually working on the Power BI report server. And on Power BI report server, field parameters are not a thing. There is a certain way of doing it there, and as far as I understood, they will never come. So field parameters are not a thing in Power BI report server. There is a way to do it and achieve the same thing using disconnected tables. So using a disconnected table and a measure with a switch will do exactly this trick, and I will show you really fast how it's doing. I'm opening tabular editor 2. Okay, and here, this tabular editor, it's already connected to my model. Let me make it bigger. I think I cannot do it bigger than this. And let me get my script, because I'm not doing it with manual, because I'm too lazy for that. Well, I'm not lazy, I'm efficient, like Patrick is saying. So if I go here in C# script, and I'm pasting the C# that I've already prepared, you will see that this will create a new table called measure selector, and a measure inside called dynamic measure. And if I will just select from BOM pile those two measures, control for BOM pile quantity and BOM pile value, and go with play here, I get an error. Why? I was selecting something, this is why. So if I go again, you will see here, I already got an additional table that I need to sync with my Power BI report. So let me go back to the Power BI report, save it first, go back, and here we should have a measure selector. It's not here. Should have been saved. Okay. Save it. I know what. My Excel file is open, I think. Not this one. I think I missed something, or it was not fully created. But believe me, this is working. We have the dynamic measure and the measure itself, and it's usually it's working. So thank you. let's skip this part. I don't like it. It's working, believe me. Trust me, I did it. It was the first thing I did before using the Power BI desktop, the service version, because there are two versions of Power BI desktop. If you didn't know, even if you want to develop for Power BI server, the desktop version itself is different, and it's updating only 3 times a year. This is why it's the parity between the two versions is not the best one, let's say like this, if I want to say it easily. Well, let me see what I still have. Yeah. After I finished the report, and I did it with field parameters as it should be when we switched to the service, Tom said, you know what? I love it. It's exactly what I needed, but I still need something extra. I said, what? My friend, what would you like now? Of course, he wanted to change the categories, but not all of them. So he wanted to be able to change the dimensions here dynamically together with the measures to allow for full flexibility. And of course, it's possible to do it, even if the first field parameter that I did was done with measures. The same thing applies whenever we are using dimensions. And this is why here I created another field parameter called dimensions, which is this one. I've tested something earlier, so please don't mind the comments here. This is what I'm interested in station, category, and product. And here, just like doing with the measures in the calculation group, I added the slicer, formatted exactly like the dimensions. And on some of the charts, because this time I was attentive, let's say, I paid attention to Tom and asked, are you sure this is your last thing? And which chart would you like to modify? Well, I need to modify only this one, the product. All the other ones can remain the same, because this one, if I can modify it, everything else gets filtered and it's working. So I just added this, sorry, this dimension here on the chart. So not this one, the history dynamic. I think that my Power BI just crashed from Tabular Editor. So this is the beauty of a live demo. And this is why I had it already prepared. So I will try to close it and open it again. Well, I will not close it. I will just go online, because you already know, you've already seen what's there. So Power BI, it's not even open. This one also crashed. Christy, what happened? I will try to open it again. Anyway, the Power BI report. Let's see if it's working with the same name. 2 files with the same name. Let's see. Task Manager, it's the last resort. Or the actual last resort is the reboot completely, but we don't have enough time for this. So let me see. I hope it's working and it's loading. No. Well, got it. So on the snapshot, on the daily snapshot, I just modified and I added the dimensions here on the y-axis. This one and the calculation. So the two field parameters that I had are allowing full flexibility on this chart, and this one, it's actually filtering every other chart on the page, allowing also the drill through to go to the details on each of them. So now, if I want to modify it in this chart, I want to see the value by station, for example, I can see it by station. Everything else works, no problem. Well, besides this, there is another thing that would be really interesting for the end users, and it's our task as developers to guide them or to empower them to use the reports wisely, let's say it like this, or to get adoption for the usage, because I think everybody is checking from time to time the usage metrics, and it's not always great what you see there. When you are working for months and you see that the report itself is not really opened or not used, we have to do something. So in order to do something, I did something that I've learned to do it since a few years now. On each of my reports, I'm adding at least an info page with the details about the data source. This is kind of a trick. It's actually helping me in 6 months to check easier where it is. But it's also a mirror for the end user to know exactly what is the data source, when the report was developed, what was added. So I always have a change log there. And I'm usually adding it with a button here inside the report on any page. And besides this info page, I'm also adding a how-to page. And this is something that I've learned last year because I was too efficient. I don't want to say too lazy. I was too efficient to make videos for the end users and guide them, the first-timers, to guide them how to drill down, how to drill through, and so on. There are some steps, or the user steps, the basic steps that if they are not shown to the end users, they are not actually used. So I had to do it, and I didn't want to make videos, so I packed everything inside my Power BI report, and this is how I do. This is a simple version. The official ones are much more tailored, let's say like this. But here, on each of the bullet points, whenever I got a new question from the end users, how do I do this? How do I do this? How do I do this? I was just adding a bullet point, and if you hover here, there is a GIF playing there, exactly with the questions. So a GIF explaining every step of the way how to do it. This is why I don't have to maintain any videos. I don't have to have a SharePoint, a separate SharePoint, and so on. And it's the same for saving a personal bookmark. So I'm just adding instructions. Of course, this is for demo purposes, and I'm saying them. Well, step 1, just put your filter. Step 2, go there, there, there. You will see it here, even marking the spots on the screen where they can bookmark the page. In real life, I have pages with how-to, with many more details for the end users, because we have a lot of end users which are new, because Power BI Premium just came to the company, so not everybody was using Report Server. So it's a very easy way to embed everything in Power BI and have everything in a single part. So we started from this simple Power BI report, coped with every additional request that my friend Tom was having, doing field parameters, disconnected tables, drill through, conditional formatting, and adding some extra instructions for everybody. So from this simple table, we went towards this totally dynamic and flexible report, where not only that we can modify the states, but we can see values either on quantity or values, or the dollar values based on stations or categories in a certain point in time, seeing trends, checking anything that the end users, Tom, would like. Thank you. This is the way how, unfortunately, things work, because it's our job as developers to be involved as early as possible in in the Power BI reports, yeah, I was ahead of my slides, but it's not a problem. There are two types of Power BI developers. The ones who think, yeah, I know better. I don't really care about whatever you are requesting. This is the way, this is the best practice as he knows it. And those who, there are the other ones, those who listen and empower the end users, even if they are their friends and they don't really like every additional request that is coming along the way. My best practice on this one, on the entire thing, in, I don't know, 9 years of working with Power BI, is get good business requirements. Try to involve and get involved at the end of the gathering the requirements whenever a report was cleared. Discuss, talk to the end users. What are the pros and the cons for each of their requests? Ask for feedback, show them that some of the things can be done better. Ask the right questions, because usually the end users don't even know what's possible. So it's our job as Power BI developers to ask the right questions. Add info pages on each report. Include docs and documentations, not only how-tos there. And allow flexibility, but also think about performance. It's not always about flexibility. Sometimes there might be cases where the data model is not allowing that much of flexibility. And when you need to take a subset and do it fully dynamic, or yes, you can allow the end users to personalize visuals. But just as Christoph showed in his session, use perspectives, make dedicated pages, limit the amount of visualizations that can be modified. Some resources to go with, initially it's the official pages from Microsoft, from Learn, but there are lots of other good use cases on the net. And at the bottom, you will see the GitHub where I've placed the file if you want to play along. The dataset, it's a really good dataset to play with, because it's not the standard one. And there is one thing, and you will see it inside the file. It's a bit a trick that I discovered some time ago that I'm doing with AdventureWorks 2. The dataset is 3 years old, but if you check the dates here, it was refreshed today. All the data is brought to date. So there is a Power Query trick inside that I shifted everything, and the calendar was shifted automatically. So whenever I'm doing trainings with AdventureWorks or Notprint or Contoso, if I want to do use relationship with shipments that are coming in the future, I have to bring everything back to date. So you will find it in the Power BI file. Last thing, and then we can go to the party. Please fill up the feedback form. It's really important. SQLBits is donating for every feedback that it's provided by us. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm trying to stay up to date with whatever is happening in the Power BI and Excel world. It's not always happening, but at least I'm trying to share as much as I can. Thank you all again for coming, and I think we still have half a minute of questions. Yeah, we are on time, but I'll be here after the session for questions. Thank you very much.